Hey guys, film recaps here, and today we're covering a 2011 crime drama movie called Sleep Tight. The opening scene shows Cesar, an apartment concierge, on the roof narrating how he finds it hard to be happy not even when good things happen to him. He adds that he always tries to be happy but all to no avail. Up next, Cesar wakes up on a Monday morning beside Clara when his alarm goes off. He puts on his clothes, packs his things, and leaves the woman on the bed. Moments later, Cesar arrives at his apartment. He takes a bath and prepares for work as he listens to the news on his radio. A little while later, Cesar arrives at the apartment where he works as a concierge. The next scene shows Clara waking up in the apartment where Cesar works. Meanwhile, downstairs Ursula, a teenage girl and her father are seen coming out of the elevator and going outside the apartment. Ursula takes a step back and goes over to Cesar and the two exchange some currency notes. Ursula's father calls on her and the two walk out of the apartment. Back in her room, Clara is preparing for the day. She exchanges greetings with Cesar when she gets downstairs and Cesar hands her a copy of the daily newspaper. Just then, Veronica, another tenant, walks in with her dogs. Clara leaves after saying goodbye to Cesar. Afterward, Cesar continues with his general checking and sorting of the apartment. Later in the day, Cesar goes to visit his sick-aged mother at the hospital. He talks to his mother about Clara but she only listens to him since she is unable to speak. Back at the apartment, Veronica tells Cesar that she is going to her friend's birthday. She asks Cesar to take care of her dogs and gives him detailed directions on how to feed them. Later that night, the apartment cleaner and her son come over. She and Cesar have a quick chat and Cesar leaves to attend to the tenants' requests. Cesar arrives at Veronica's apartment and feeds the dog. He then adds a potato pie that Veronica left for him to the dog's food and leaves. Cesar gets to his apartment and cleans up. In the next scene, Clara arrives in her apartment and opens up her mail and letter. She tears them up afterward. She listens to music and dances around the apartment. Meanwhile, Cesar is lying under her bed waiting for her to sleep. During the night, Cesar checks to see if Clara is asleep using a mirror. After confirming that Clara is asleep, he crawls out from under the bed. He then uses chloroform to keep Clara asleep. He goes over to Clara's bathroom and messes with her care products by applying some liquid chemicals into them. It's now Tuesday. Cesar is woken up by his alarm as he lies beside Clara. He goes to the bathroom to brush his teeth with Clara's toothbrush. Before leaving the apartment, he takes Clara's wristwatch with him. Upon coming out of the apartment, he meets Ursula outside. Ursula asks him for a hot movie if he wants her to keep her mouth shut. Cesar, now in the main lobby, sees Veronica heading out of the apartment. He sees Veronica with just one of her dogs. He asks where the other is. Veronica tells him that it is suffering from diarrhea, probably from a meal it ate the previous day. Clara wakes up and cleans up and applies her care products. Moments later, Clara gets downstairs. She tells Cesar about her missing wristwatch before saying goodbye for the day. Cesar, now in his apartment, hears a knock on the door. Upon opening, he meets Ursula at the door. She asks him for the movie she requested earlier. After giving her the movie, Ursula tells Cesar that the price for keeping her mouth shut is now €100 and leaves afterward. Now back at the apartment, one of the tenants is angry at Cesar for not taking care of the plants after he was instructed to do so, causing the plants to die off. Later in the day, Cesar goes to visit his mother at the hospital. Cesar tells his mother that he is close to wiping Clara's smile off her face since it's his goal to make his tenants miserable and unhappy. Upon arriving at the apartment, Cesar tells the apartment cleaner that the tenants are angry at them because the office wasn't cleaned very well, causing the woman to scold his son. Later on, Cesar goes to Clara's apartment to fix her broken sink. After fixing the sink, he places Clara's wristwatch on the cabinet where she would find it. But before doing so, he pours some chemicals on it to damage the wristwatch. Up next, Cesar is seen hiding under Clara's bed as usual. She gets a call from her boyfriend. The two have a chat about what she's facing in the apartment and the letters and unusual texts she gets. Just then, she finds her wristwatch but tells her boyfriend that it's damaged. Seconds later, they say their goodnights. Cesar wakes during the night as usual after confirming Clara is asleep. He uses chloroform to keep her asleep and says it's time he gets serious about making her unhappy. He goes over to Clara's things and messes them up. He puts a rotten apple inside her wares. It's Wednesday. Clara wakes up and notices rashes all over her face. She leaves the apartment after talking to Cesar in the lobby. Now fast forward to Thursday. Clara wakes up head heavy and tired. She looks in the mirror and finds out that her skin is more damaged. Meanwhile, Cesar sends her one of the unusual letters again, telling her everything will be miserable for her. Days pass and Clara is seen frustrated. It's another Monday. Clara goes to the mirror and sees that her rashes have gone down. Clara is relieved for a second, but upon opening her closet, she finds many cockroaches in her apartment. She runs out of the apartment to go fetch Cesar. Clara tells Cesar to go inside and help her to bring one of her clothes. Afterward, Clara tells Cesar that she will stay at her mom's place till Cesar is done fumigating the apartment. Cesar asks Clara if she's still receiving letters from the secret man who is teasing her. She says yes and is surprised at how Cesar knows about it. Moments later, she leaves. Up next, Cesar is telling his mother that he thinks he's taking everything too far now. However, he says he can't stop because he now has something to live for. His mother cries as she listens to him talk. It's Tuesday and Cesar is already working on the fumigation of Clara's apartment. Fast forward to Wednesday, cops arrive at the apartment. They invite the tenants to the station for questioning in hopes of figuring out who is harassing Clara. Cesar frames the cleaner's son, which leads to his arrest. Up next, Cesar calls Clara to inform her about the clean status of her apartment. Clara says she will be back by the night. Cesar packs some equipment including a knife and goes over to Clara's apartment to hide under her bed. While hiding under the bed, Clara and her boyfriend, Marcos, come in. The two make out on the bed with Cesar hiding underneath. Cesar accidentally rubs some chloroform on his face. He tries to leave the apartment quietly while the two lovers are busy. Upon getting to the door, he finds out that he picked the wrong apartment key. The following day is Thursday. Cesar wakes up in Clara's bathtub. Marcos finds Caesar's sports bag under the bed and calls out Clara's attention to it. Inside the bag, Marcos finds a diary, but Clara distracts him before he could read it. Cesar sneaks to the living room and hides out till the couple goes to the bathroom. He then sneaks to where his bag is and picks up the right key in his diary. However, as he tries to slip out of the apartment, Marcos sees him. Cesar deceives Marcos and Clara successfully and leaves the apartment. Upon arriving downstairs, he finds out that he is being fired. Sometime later, Veronica sympathizes with him as he clears out his things. Afterward, Clara comes downstairs and informs him that she is going on a vacation for 4 days with Marcos. Later that night, Cesar is making a call to a therapist as he thanks her. He adds that he has tried his best but he doesn't think he is capable of being happy. Afterward, Cesar goes to the rooftop where he plans to terminate himself by jumping off the building. Cesar stops when he sees Marcos and Clara coming back to the apartment. Inside Clara's apartment, Marcos and Clara are having an argument. It's revealed that Clara is 4 weeks pregnant. Marcos tells her that they haven't seen each other in 6 weeks and whenever they do, he uses a condom whenever they make out. Marcos says it's strange but Clara is infuriated that Marcos doesn't trust her. Meanwhile, Cesar hears everything because he's hiding under the bed. During the night, Cesar crawls into bed with Clara and whispers to her that their time together is almost over. The following day is Friday. Cesar is in his apartment when Marcos knocks on the door. Marcos tells Cesar that there are still some bugs in Clara's apartment and he should come over to help. Upon arriving at the apartment, Cesar discovers that Marcos knows about his illegal affairs. The two engage in a fight. Cesar breaks a glass and punctures Marcos in the neck with it. He carries Marcos to the bathtub as he bleeds out. Moments later, Marcos dies and Cesar leaves the apartment while the water from the bathtub runs over. Cesar goes to his apartment to clean up when he hears a knock on the door. The cops are in the apartment investigating Marcos's death. They take Cesar to Clara's apartment and ask him a few questions which he answered. While leaving for his apartment, Cesar sees a note left on his door by Ursula saying, "I see you." Moments later, he goes to Ursula's apartment. He threatens her by saying he will terminate her and her family if she doesn't keep her mouth shut. The following morning, Cesar is packing his things when the cops arrive. They ask him a few questions and he gives them detailed answers. A little while later, Clara is seen moving out of the apartment. Cesar offers his condolences and says he hopes Clara smiles again. Just then, one of the tenants asks him if he is happy now. Some time passes, Clara has given birth. Cesar sends her a letter including his diary explaining why he did everything and hopes that anytime Clara looks at their child, she will think of him. Clara cries as she reads the letter while holding her baby. The movie comes to an end on a Monday morning as Cesar shaves his beards and says he's ready to try his best to be happy. Thanks for watching, guys.